Hi, this is Ruchira, and today I'm presenting Bubblepay, which is an all in one, intelligent, and intuitive laundromat operations platform. I'm a product designer in a company called Smart Systems. Now, Smart Systems is a software as a service platform for laundromats and dry cleaning services, and it has been around for around 10 years. We have services from POS, delivery, marketing, etc. Now, while we were working in this, we realized that we have captured a lot of data, but there was no way we were consolidating it, which brings us to our starting point and our vision that how can we give laundromat owners the superpower to make data empowered decision. To give a little bit of context, laundromats and dry cleaning industry is still an industry where a lot of things are done manually, and tech has integrated into it, but there are a lot of legacy softwares and people are a little resistant to any kind of new change. So they are always, but laundromat owners are always juggling hundreds of tasks at the same time. But how can we make sure that they have the power to see everything and anything at one time and have full autonomy of the situation from anywhere? That and while we were talking to our laundromat owners, what stood out to us was that each of these tasks that they were doing on a day to day basis were quite siloed. They would go into a laundromat, keep a check on the machines manually, take a note of any kind of issues that are happening, a note for the coupons, have a ledger or a spreadsheet for revenues, maintain receipts for transactions, etc. And in all these, they were losing around 4 hours or more per week for maintaining these operations. So the question that came to us was that how do we make these each silos talk to each other in a way that it is connected and it guides the laundromat owners towards a certain direction, which shaped our design vision. That is, designing for clarity, growth, and control. Clarity in the sense that things are accessible to them and comprehensible in a way that they have full autonomy of the situation and ultimately leads towards strategic growth over a period of time. This is especially built for laundromat owners, and to put it simply, their goal on a day to day basis is to keep every machine earning and running smoothly, and every customer happy with the least amount of friction. So, where did we start? While we captured all these data, our developer team put all of these together into a web portal. And we had this. So, where a lot of these data were coming together, but there were a lot of overlaps and redundancies. So, we came back to our starting question that were the laundromat owners really looking at this and was it helping them in a certain way? But what we realized was data was getting captured, but there were many gaps in understanding. And ultimately, there was no clear visual hierarchy. The data points were disconnected and not telling really a story. And the data was raw and static in a way that it was not digestible and ultimately leading to decision fatigue. Which brings us to our solution, where we consolidate this information in a way that it can be prioritized in basis of their level of need and and how critical that it is. And it was a mobile first approach so that it is accessible at from anywhere anytime. And we broke it down into four main categories, which was reports, machine controls, transaction, and rewards, based on what they think of in a day to day. So we took this as an opportunity of mirroring their physical spaces into a digital world. So when they're walking into a laundromat, they're thinking that how is my business doing today? Are there any issues that need to be taken care of? Are they critical? If they are critical, how can I take care of them? And if they're affecting any other parts of my business? So let's double down into this. So on the on the home page we have these many cards showing the features that are there in our whole UI. Now, we had laid it out in a way that it was based on the prioritization of the information they need in a particular day. Going back to the question that what is important to me. So, when I walk into a laundromat, I think that how my business is doing today. So, I have the revenue up top. And in order to compare it with something to see if that is leading to a certain growth or and helps me make a decision, I have a contextual comparison with yesterday or the week before. We have used colors and icons in a certain way to associate it with a particular flow. Since there is a lot of data and information that is getting populated here, so we made sure that the UI is as as less complicated as possible. The color is used in a sensible way so that it does not hinder their focus. And to come down to the navigation, while it is little unconventional, but we kept it down to simply the home button and back and forth. We used to get support calls from our other products where they would ask simple questions like, how do I go ahead from here, or how do I go back from here, how do I go back to the main menu? And we did not want to have that kind of friction. So at every point of the flow, we have made sure that we use colors and text in a way that they are aware of which part of the flow they are in, and they can always come back to the home, and they have their back and forth menu to go ahead and back at any point of time. Flexibility and ease of use was the core of this product, and to make everything simplified. Now, coming up to our first workflow, which is machine control. I would be walking you through this, and this will give us an idea of how laundromats work in general. So, every laundromat has different kinds of machine: washers, dryers, kiosk, and we have tried to mimic on how the owners are mapping a laundromat in their mind. They are grouping it in basis of machines first, and then they think of how they are working and what are the total cycles. By cycles, we refer to the wash cycles that are happening, and they need to know that the number of the machines that are in use today to get a sense of the business, the health of the machines that are working or not. Now, moving on, when you click on any of those cards, it gives you a list of the machines. And in each of these cards, we have shown the information that is necessary for quick high stake decisions, like the status, the payment, and the credit option. We got a feedback when we first tested it that they do not want the credit option hidden under 2 3 clicks. They want it right up top, which is why we brought it up more. And the information density is broken down in a way that it is designed for busy hours, and it matches the language and the reality and the landscape of a normal laundromat. So the critical information surfaces right up top, and we have used visual cues to show the statuses and like out of order, successfully running, or disconnected or not, and a particular color system that's cohesive with the blue iconography that we have used everywhere. And then after that, when they click on any one of the machine cards, they have first the price, which is the general price of each wash cycle, and then they have modifiers which are like alterations based on that, like extra rinse, extra wash. Now, not every business has it, while many businesses do have that kind of customization. So we have tried to be inclusive of all the kinds of businesses. Now, credit is kind of the most important action that they do on a day-to-day basis when they get calls from customers that a particular machine is not working, or they have to deposit a certain kind of money, or based on the seasonal usage, if they want to increase the price of a cycle. And single machine view maintains the focus on one particular machine, reduces the decision fatigue that they generally would have, and it empowers them with complete autonomy on one machine with as much customization as they want as they go forward and click further. Now, moving on. Now, we saw how the machines are operating. Now, what we realized is while the machines are there and there is a flow of money, but how is this money actually leading to the growth? That connection we needed to be made. So, this is one of the most comprehensive, innovative, while complicated flows that we had to design. And that's the reporting and the analytics one. So it started with the guiding question that we had all throughout, that what is the most important thing to them? And then we realized that while we were capturing data, do we need to show all the data, or are some of them just being shown because for the sake of it? So what are the data that is necessity to them, and then what are the best ways to show this data so that visually it's consumable. Is it a bar graph, a pie chart, or a short annotation? Next, so how do they lead onto these reports? Now, many of these businesses have multiple sites, um, and some of them are doing well, some of them are not so well, or some of them are being consistent. So sometimes they want to check it against other sites, which is why we have an option of selecting multiple sites, selecting a date range, giving them the operational autonomy and flexibility of how they want to visualize the information. And then we have, once they view reports, we have broken it down into separate modules based on the conversations that we have had with them, that what they want to see first. Like first we have revenue, and then we have machines, which ties together, and then the timings of a laundromat on a day to day, and how that informs the flow of money, and finally the cart sizes and the cart statistics. Moving on, what we saw is, while we captured a lot of this data, uh, and we added annotation, well, when none of this can work in isolation. Every number tells a story, and we were making sure that it's easy to read and connect them. The way that we have stacked it horizontally is also based on the relevancy to them. So first we show the last 7 days, and then we slowly go into bigger time frames where we are talking about performance, and then we are talking about across sites and a gross revenue, or a monthly revenue. Now, doubling down on this, now each of these cards, by default, the first card is going to be in an expanded view, so that it's easier for users to understand that that is how the interaction is going to be. And we have used that progressive data exploration based on the news and time-wise comparison to just reflect that how they think about their business cycles, and giving them a contextual comparison to start off with. We also used small annotations when they first get onboarded to the app, and a hotspot animation to show them that this is where it needs to be tapped, so that we do not have any assumptions that, okay, the users are definitely going to tap into it. And then showing visual hierarchy and visual cues to show the critical details, that what is the most important. And on expansion, you can see more double down thing. You can click on any of the graphs to see why that data happened that particular way. uh, this was all mainly because that the user does not get overwhelmed, does not feel that this is just another data capturing tool, but it actually helps them to understand. It was designed to discover and make decisions as quickly as possible. And we were not using many different kinds of colors, but different shades of a similar color, so that it's a cohesive differentiator. And we're also allowing multidimensional analysis across different sites. But choosing what graph to show for what kind of data was a difficult decision that I had to make. But here, something that helped us was the Material UI's design kit and guidelines. So, for showing changes over time, we had bar graphs and line charts to show minor variations over a stretch of time, that is generally we see in the industry for showing revenue or any stock market growth, etc. And we were using positive reinforcements just to motivate them a little bit and nudge them a little bit forward, and stacked bars to show correlation or distribution over different sites. Now, going on to machines, as we saw that there was the flow of money, and then we were connecting it to how this actually informs the use of the machines. So till now, we had showed, okay, this is how you can control the machines. Now, these cycles that are being captured, how is it contributing to the overall revenue? And if you tap on any one of the machine cards, you can see that, okay, this machine was performing great, and this is probably the reason why. It gives them a certain sense of validation, and also gives them an intelligent insight. So uh, our our basic like thought behind this was, anomalies do keep happening in business, but these kind of insights tell them why it's happening. For example, understanding that what are the busiest hours, and if during a season, for example during Christmas, the busiest hour changes and the revenue is increasing during that time, and if there is sudden abrupt changes or falls, then what are the most profitable machines that they can look after, and they should make sure that it has to be taken care of. Now, going on to rewards. Now, this is a way that laundromat owners are building their brand love, and we are giving them a tool to put all those parameters together that uh, help them achieve this brand love in a much more cohesive way. So, firstly, we have snapshots for showing a quick flash of the data that there are loyalty members and coupons, and they can quickly see that what were the last active, how many recently active members that there were, what were the recent active coupons for quick decisions, and they can filter and search that can keep growing as this thing scales. Moving on, we have loyalty programs as well, and this gives them an option to also see the analytics that are associated with it, be it categorization by discounts or categorization by sites, so that they understand that this does not work in isolation either. And this is designed to motivate them to take decisions which are more informed by this data. And finally, coupons. Now, every coupon is broken down into a separate card, and they can easily add a new coupon as they need. So, this is a way where they can see the data that they saw in loyalty groups, loyalty members, and based on that, push any coupon that is needed for the market at that point of time. And lastly, giving a small moment of delight when something is coming up, because this is quite a common issue that machines are breaking down and that things need to be taken care of. At the same time, the data is probably not updated, and that we are getting support calls. But we don't want them to worry, or we don't want them to think that we are not working on it. So a little moment of delight. And finally, transactions. While transactions sounds quite intuitive to us, but it has a lot of intricacies. And this is something that they visit quite often, because whenever they have calls from customers that a certain transaction did not go through, which is why we have again went back to our questions, that when they're looking at transactions, what are the issues that they're thinking of? That are my customers getting affected? What are the burning issues? Can I track them easily? If somebody is calling me, can I see that transaction and quickly send them a refund if needed? So, to eliminate uncertainty, everything is real time getting updated. We are using visual cues to show the statuses for quick detection, and they can choose the time frame as they need. And all of these follow a similar UX flow that we saw in reporting or in rewards or in machine control, to build on the learnability and for faster recall. And finally, after touching upon all those flows, what we looked at when we were building this was how do we bring association and meaning into color. We were using different kinds of color, but in the background where we tried using a very non-distracting background, so that they are not overwhelmed and their focus is not hindered. For powerful decisions like reporting, we used purple. For giving them autonomy over machines, we used the blue. And for a certain sense of brand love and a feeling of warmth, we in rewards we use the yellow. And for transactions and cash, we used green, which is generally associated with any kind of payments. And to give it a little bit of modern spin, we tried using glassmorphic effects, soft shadows, a little bit of elevated look. While we were looking at all the apps that are there in the market for laundromats or laundromat owners, most of them have a similar kind of look using blues and yellows. And we thought that how can we make it look different but also have a similar familiar structural UX, which is why we added that little bit of modern touch and aspirational value in the design. That's something to look forward to, and something that even if we do change the background into any kind of soft gradient, that will still stand out. And the overarching design theme in all of that, to conclude, would be uh, we, we saw that how we can turn a passive data into something proactive, into something that actually motivates them to take a decision. Making data not feel isolated but like a dialogue between the business and the owner, and we as the people who nudge them forward, giving users as much autonomy and control over the whole app, while knowing that information has its own place in their own buckets under one umbrella. While all of these we were doing, we were trying to bring in new changes, but we made sure that we were using something that was familiar in terms of the terminologies that we are using, the way they are going to use this particular interface. Familiarity was there, but we tried to just make it as much better as we can with our tech and design capabilities. And I'm very thankful to my team for that. And lastly, the impact in numbers, which made us very proud and happy, was there was 45% improvement in ease of finding key data, and people were able to reduce the time that they had going to do manual checks. There was increase in loyalty members, which is a big plus for the brand as well as for our product. And there was decrease in support calls, and we are now thinking that how do we bring in this vision into our other products. Thank you for staying with me throughout this journey. This was very motivating for me to design for this niche industry, and realizing that we can bring in a moment of delight and a simplicity in any kind of complicated areas if we just put our heart and soul into it. Thank you.